What's vocabulary? Is it just a fixed set of words in the language? How is it to be taught? By means of this presentation, you'll be explained some facts regarding the teaching of vocabulary. Teaching vocabulary. What does it mean to teach vocabulary? Well, vocabulary implies a lot of different things. It's not just to teach words to the students and that's it. How do you define vocabulary? Vocabulary can be defined roughly as the words we teach in the foreign language. But is that it? Well, some examples of vocabulary items is not just lexical items or isolated words. We also have nominal compounds. In English, for example, we have also hyphenated words or multi-word idioms. And all of that is considered vocabulary. What needs to be taught when you are teaching vocabulary? For every piece of vocabulary that needs to be taught to the students, the teacher has to teach its form, that is, how the word is pronounced and how the word is spelled. The grammar. Is it a verb? Is it an adjective? Is it a noun? Does it have any kind of collocation? In other words, does it belong to any collocation expression? What about its denotation? And the connotation? Is every single word that you are teaching appropriate? And that's why we need to also pay attention to appropriateness. Is that it? What else needs to be taught? For some teachers, it is crucial that meaning relationships must be taught to their students. And that implies synonyms, antonyms, hyponyms, cohyponyms, superordinates, and cognates. Okay, now let's review some of these words. Okay, what are hyponyms? Hyponyms are items that serve as specific examples of a general concept. For example, the words cat, shark, and worm, all of them belong to animals. What are cohyponyms? Cohyponyms are items that belong to the same kind of thing. So if you say red, blue, and green, what do they have in common? Well, they are colors. What about if you say cat, lion, or tiger? Well, now we're talking about felines. The next thing to pay attention to is the superordinates. Superordinates are general concepts that cover specific items. Consider these words: M, sequoia, and cypress. What do they have in common? All of them belong to the superordinate trees. Anything else that needs to be taught when we are teaching vocabulary? Of course, we have prefixes, suffixes, and even juxtapositions. When we are dealing with prefixes, prefixes are like little pieces of a word that are included at the beginning of a root word. For example, here we have the word mistake, enjoy, disease, and pre-order, being in this case the prefixes miss, and dis, and order. Suffixes are a little bit different. They go at the end of words. We have examples such as deep, depth, cruel, cruelty, girl, girlhood, assist, assistance. When we are talking about juxtapositions, juxtapositions include words such as follow up. That is, the word follow and up are put next to one another to come or to become a concept. What about checking accounts? And what about blackbird? Now that we have paid attention that vocabulary is not just teaching words, we have to think how vocabulary needs to be presented to the students. Penny Earth suggests that students should be provided with vocabulary by means of definitions, descriptions, examples, illustrations, mimicking, context, synonyms or antonyms, and at the same time, why not, translation. But are there any specific techniques for people to remember words? Well, some people think that we have to be teaching categorizations. Other teachers definitely believe that meaning relation is a very good technique to remember words. And for some others, logs are the way to go when learning vocabulary. Okay, let's pay attention to categorizations. Categorizations are related to words that are connected to one specific thematic unit. Consider, for example, cashing a check at a bank. Words such as endorse, cash, bank teller, cutting line, take a tap, and change are part of this categorization. But there are more words, of course. How about if you consider words such as surveillance, account, deposit, debit card, stand in line, and withdrawal? All of these things belong to this specific vocabulary categorization or thematic unit. When we are dealing with meaning relation, we are talking about words that somehow are connected because of their roots or the root word that is included in each one. For example, consider the word beauty. Beauty has a verb, and that verb is beautify. But there is an adjective as well, which is beautiful. Now we have three different words: beauty, beautify, and beautiful. And it's a good idea that students get to learn not only the word beautiful, which is the common adjective word that we tend to teach students, but also to include the noun and the verb as well.